Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bachelor Nation official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Single Girl Season 21's Jenn Tran is building major areas of strength for A with Marcus Schauberg. However, she shouldn't decide to get drawn into him eventually. Jenn, a 26-year-old Dr. right-hand understudy initially from Hillsdale, New Jersey, however at present living in Boston, Massachusetts, is kicking off something new as the very first Asian American single guy establishment lead. She started her excursion to track down adoration with 25 competitors, and Marcus, a 31-year-old armed force officer veteran from Raleigh, North Carolina, has been one of the men with whom she's structured an incredible relationship. All through the Lone Rangeress Season 21, Jenn and Marcus have had numerous significant minutes. She picked him for her initial one-on-one date, during which she confronted her feeling of dread toward Levels by going skydiving with him. This united them. Jenn likewise gave him the gathering date Rose after he was harmed in a rugby matchup. Despite the fact that Marcus and Jenn appear to truly appreciate each other's conversation, there are a couple of reasons that he probably won't be the ideal individual for her eventually. During the Unhitched Female Season 21 debut bundle, Marcus let Jenn know that, when he was a military officer, he was genuinely harmed in a projectile blast, which transformed him. In his debut bundle, he uncovered that it's been around a long time since he's dated, and he feels that he's prepared to free himself back up to being seeing someone the chance of affection. Despite the fact that Marcus needs to be seeing someone, it most likely is certainly not a smart thought for him to bounce into a commitment with Jenn after not dating for a long time and taking into account all that he's experienced. He could require additional time. In the event that Jenn picks Marcus eventually, they likely ought to date as opposed to come down on their relationship by getting ready for marriage. Marcus doesn't appear to be completely genuinely accessible yet, so getting connected too quick could cause grief for the two of them. At the point when Marcus was harmed in the gathering date rugby matchup, Jenn carried her stethoscope to the mixed drink party to mind him energetically. In any case, Marcus at first demanded that he was okay. However, at that point, after she pushed him, he conceded that his physical issue hurt somewhat more than he was expecting, yet that he'd experienced things that are beyond awful. Jenn clarified for him that he'd told her that he'd felt alone in his life, and she needed to show up for him. Marcus answered that he comes down on himself to not be seen as powerless in light of the fact that his job relied upon that for quite a while. In his confession booth, he said that he was anxious in light of the fact that, to open up to Jenn about harming about anything, makes the way for harming about everything. Marcus told her that he didn't believe anybody should feel terrible for him. He told her, "Perhaps I'm simply requesting a little room right now." Jenn let him know that he didn't necessarily need to major areas of strength for be him, and that she could help convey. They embraced, and he expressed gratitude toward her. Marcus then made sense of in his confession booth that he'd gone through the most troublesome things in his day-to-day existence alone. He said that it felt somewhat childish to ask another person to worry about his concerns, and that he could have done without doing that. At the point when Jenn later gave Marcus the gathering date Rose, he turned out to be extremely personal and cried before everybody. While this is reasonable, Marcus probably won't be prepared to be in that frame of mind of relationship that Jenn's searching for in light of the fact that it's difficult for him to be open to her. In the Lone Rangeress Season 21 reviews, Marcus tells Jenn, "You merit all the affection on the planet, yet I'm not there yet. I'm battling at present." Albeit the show is famous for its deceptive promotions, it appears to be that Marcus is saying these words. Considering all the other things that has occurred during the season, it's conceivable that Marcus is battling with his sentiments. If so, then Jenn ought to pick somebody who's all the more certain of their relationship. Despite the fact that Marcus appears as though an incredible person, he doesn't appear to be prepared for a commitment yet. Tragically, Jenn ought to presumably pick somebody who's in total agreement as she is about what's to come. Marcus merits love, yet Jenn shouldn't get drawn into him toward the finish of the Lone Rangeress Season 21. The Lone Wolfess Season 21 is going full bore, and there is a hypothesis that the inability to introduce Devin as the show's antagonist demonstrates that the show couldn't care less about Jenn Tran. Jenn, a 26-year-old doctor's colleague, made her TV debut last year during the Lone Ranger season 28. Jenn was one of the 32 qualified ladies who dated 28-year-old tennis proficient Joey Graziadei. Jenn was a fan number one and broadly viewed as one of the leaders for Joey's heart. However, she was wiped out the week prior to the old neighborhood visits. It is much of the time said that when one entryway shuts, another opens, and that is what befallen Jenn, who was then decided to lead the Unhitched Female season 21. There was a great deal of discussion about her determination on the grounds that few ladies had supposedly currently turned down the job before it was proposed to Jenn. The season opened with Jenn meeting 25 qualified Lone Rangers, including Devin Strader, a 28-year-old cargo organization proprietor from Texas. A few fans have conjectured that Devin is the season's bad guy. Yet, is that a fair evaluation? A few fans have scrutinized Devin's online entertainment conduct. However, the allegations are hazy. However, the Lone Wolf's season 21 candidate hasn't been blamed for posting anything sketchy himself. Certain individuals have asserted that he loved or generally answered problematic posts. It has turned into a typical event in current life to pursue individuals in light of web-based entertainment conduct, yet this is an out-of-line method for passing judgment on an individual's personality. Lone Ranger country fans are known to make snap decisions about contenders from the beginning, and that is precisely exact thing happened to Devin. From the second the single girl season 21 challenger got out of the limousine and let Jenn know that it's only one out of every odd day he meets his future spouse. Obviously, Devin had a lot of strut. Devin has made truly a name for himself during the single woman season 21, yet not for the explanation he might like. Devin has been blamed for working up show among different men. Not just has he hindered other men's experience with Jenn, however, he has additionally been extremely forceful as far as getting time with Jenn. However, this conduct might be driven by the way that Devin likes Jenn. There has been some hypothesis that Devin is a clout chaser involving the show for distinction. Fans and individual Unhitched Female alum were dismayed when Jenn Tran had to endure her proposition on After the Last Rose. At the point when Jesse Palmer inquired as to whether she was prepared to watch the proposition, her reaction had fans feeling it was constrained. Did she really realize this plan to occur before the live show started broadcasting? Continue to peruse to figure out more. Did Jenn Tran realize about the proposition being shown? Since wrapping her excursion as the Unhitched Female, Jenn Tran has been doing lots of meetings. During one of her meetings with Style, she talked on the show having her and Devin Strader watch her noteworthy proposition. At the point when Jenn was asked by Jesse Palmer in the event that she was prepared to watch the proposition sitting close to Devin, she answered inquiring as to whether she had a decision. She had previously been wailing and fans thought it was brutal to have them show this once more. Jenn was gotten some information about this later. Did she realize the proposition could be shown? She uncovered that she did as a matter of fact no. She said, "Indeed, I realized that plan to occur. They strolled me through the strategy and everything. I surmise I simply didn't have the foggiest idea how weighty I would feel at the time, seeing Devin once more and having that discussion that we had. I was extremely restless that evening, thus my feelings were only out of control all along. It was an exceptionally hard thing to do to watch it back with him. However, I likewise realized that it should have been done on the grounds that I believed him should watch that part." Why was this vital to her? Jenn Tran likewise shared why it meant quite a bit to her to make Devin Strader watch the proposition once more. She said she didn't know whether he even tried to observe any of the time play back. Notwithstanding, she believed him should hear the words he shared with her, and afterward attempt to comprehend the reason why she was so wounded by how everything worked out. Jenn uncovered conciliatory sentiments from him were non-existent. Jenn finally accepted reality for what it is she really wanted. She's continuing on and preparing to contend on hitting the dance floor with the stars. She previously uncovered it's a decent interruption from her tragedy. What is your take on Jenn definitely realizing before After the Last Rose that the proposition could be shown? Do you suppose it was savage?